Dear friend, today we will see the white matter of the cerebrum. White matter of the cerebrum means this white matter of cerebrum. It is also known as the white fiber. White fibers of cerebrum. White fiber means deep to the cerebral cortex, there are the fiber running this cerebral cortex, means the core of the cerebral cortex. And these fibers start from the pyramidal cells. As you know, the cerebral cortex is made up of, suppose, look here. So this is the cerebral cortex. Okay. So cerebral cortex periphery here, these are the gray matter. Okay. We know. This is the gray matter. And from the gray matter here, the cells are located. Okay. These are the pyramidal cells. Okay. And from the pyramidal cells here, the fibers start here. Okay. The axon this start here. Okay. This is in the case of the motor cortex here, while in the sensory cortex here, what's happened in the sensory cortex here? The afferent fiber ends. Okay. Like this. These are the afferent fiber. So this fiber, which is deep to the cerebral cortex, means gray matter here, this area is known as the white fiber of the cerebrum. Okay. Now this white fiber of the cerebrum is made up of the three type. Okay, three type of the white fiber there. One is the here the association fiber. Association fibers. Then the commissural fiber. Commissural fiber. Okay. And the third is projection fiber. Projection fibers. What does means association fiber, commissural fiber and projection fiber? Association fiber means which connect the different areas of the same cerebral hemisphere. Okay, yeah, different areas of the same cerebral hemisphere, while the commissural fiber connect the same identical areas of the two cerebral hemisphere here. Okay, like this, suppose the two identical areas of the two different cerebral hemisphere here. Okay, same identical area. While the projection fiber are the fiber which descends downward. Okay, projects towards the lower centers, like in the medulla, pons, midbrain, or the spinal cord. So these are the projection fiber which start from the cerebral cortex, or either the fiber which ascends from the spinal cord or the medulla or brain and end into the cerebral cortex here, like this. Okay, so these are the projection fiber. Okay, so there are three type of the fiber: association fiber, commissural fiber, and the projection fiber. Now, first discuss the association fiber here. Association fibers. What is association fiber? Look here. First, you will draw the diagram here. Suppose this is the cerebral hemisphere. Okay. Now, association fiber. What are association fiber here? Association fiber are the two types. One are the short association fiber. Okay. One is the long association fiber. Okay. What about the short association fiber? Short association fibers are the fiber which connect the adjacent gyri, like this. Okay. These are the gyri, adjacent gyri here. These are the short association fiber here. Okay, yeah. So, and what about the long association fiber? Just see the long association fiber, the different diagram here. Suppose here okay, and this is the midbrain, pons, and the medulla. Here. The cerebellum, and this is the medulla and spinal cord. Clear? Now, what about the long association fiber? Look here, long association fiber are, one is the, and these long association fiber connect the different areas of the same cerebral hemisphere here, the distantly located areas here. Okay. Now, out of this here, one is the cingulum. What about the cingulum? Cingulum are the fiber which is situated on the medial side. Okay. So, suppose I am drawing the diagram on the medial side here. Okay. Now, this is the corpus callosum. Okay, here. Now, what about the cingulum? Cingulum are the fiber here which connect the here the paraterminal area here, passes around the cingulate gyrus. Okay, here, and it is towards the hippocampus here. Okay, here. So these are the cingulate shape structure here, which connect the paraterminal gyrus towards the hippocampus. Okay, here. So these are the fiber of the cingulum here. So it connect the here, the uncus area here. Okay. And this makes the Pepe's circuit, part of the Pepe's circuit. Okay. This is not the Pepe's circuit. Okay. So these are the fiber of the cingulum. Okay, here. It is located on the medial side, just around the cingulate gyrus here. Okay. So the fiber cingulum. Now, on the lateral side, now look here. This suppose these are the fiber of the here. This is the fiber of the corona radiata. Okay, there is descending fiber from the cerebral cortex towards the medulla, midbrain, pons, and the medulla. These are the ascending and descending fiber. Okay, here. These are the fiber of the corona radiata here. Corona radiata. Clear? Now, around the corona radiata, lateral side and the medial side here, that the certain long association fiber are situated which connect the one part of the cerebral hemisphere to the other part of the cerebral hemisphere, the same cerebral hemisphere here. Now, first is the superior longitudinal fasciculus. Okay, here. Now, superior longitudinal fasciculus here connect the, suppose the different color here. It connect the frontal lobe reaches towards the occipital lobe. Okay, and then turns towards the parietal lobe here, like this. So this is the superior longitudinal fasciculus here. Okay, it connects the frontal lobe to the occipital lobe and then turn towards the temporal lobe here. Clear? So this is the here the superior longitudinal fasciculus, and the superior longitudinal fasciculus is important because it connects the frontal eye field here. Okay, here in the frontal area towards the occipital cortex here, which is responsible for the movement of the eye in response to the when we read or write the anything. Okay, so we manually see that part. Okay, so this is the superior longitudinal fasciculus. Clear? Then the inferior longitudinal fasciculus. Inferior longitudinal fasciculus connect the here the occipital lobe towards the temporal lobe here. This is here. Okay, so this is here the inferior longitudinal fasciculus. This is the superior longitudinal fasciculus. This connects the occipital lobe to the temporal lobe. Now, one important fasciculus is there is the uncinate fasciculus. Okay, uncinate fasciculus connect the lower part of the frontal lobe here and the orbital here lobe here towards the temporal lobe here. Okay, so this is the here the color here. The lower it winds around here and connect the temporal lobe here, especially the uncus area here. So this is the uncinate fasciculus. And it is said here this uncinate fasciculus, these are the arcuate fiber here. Okay, this Broca's area, this motor speech area. Okay, here area number 45. Okay, and 42, 45, and 46 up to and to the speech area. Clear? Or the temporal area here. Clear? So this is the uncinate fasciculus. Now another fasciculus is here. It is there. Here the fronto-occipital fasciculus. Okay, fronto-occipital fasciculus is situated here, medial to the superior longitudinal fasciculus, while lateral to the caudate nucleus here. So somewhere here. Okay, here suppose somewhere here. Here. So it is the same function, the same superior longitudinal fasciculus here. It connects the frontal area to the occipital area here. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the here the fronto-occipital fasciculus. Okay, fronto-occipital fasciculus which connect the frontal area, frontal lobe to the occipital lobe, the visual area and the frontal eye field area. Okay, here it is situated medial to the superior longitudinal fasciculus here. Clear? Then the last is here the perpendicular fasciculus. Perpendicular fasciculus connect the parietal lobe here to the occipital lobe like this. It is perpendicular to the here the superior longitudinal fasciculus, but is situated obliquely here. Okay, and these fiber also turn inferiorly towards the temporal lobe here. Okay, here. So this is here. So this is known as the perpendicular fasciculus. Okay, perpendicular fasciculus which connect the parietal lobe to the occipital lobe. Okay, and the posterior part of the temporal lobe here. Okay. So these are the fasciculi which connect the distant area of the same cerebral hemisphere. We have seen here on the medial aspect around the cingulate gyrus, the cingulum, which connect the paraterminal gyrus towards the uncus, and the temporal lobe winds around the cingulate gyrus and winds around the superior aspect of the corpus callosum. Then we have seen the superior longitudinal fasciculus here connect the frontal lobe to the occipital lobe, then also turn inferiorly towards the occipital. This is the temporal lobe here. Then we have seen the inferior longitudinal fasciculus which connect the temporal lobe to the occipital lobe. We have seen here the uncinate fasciculus which connect the frontal Broca's area towards the temporal area. Broca's area means area number 45 and 46 towards the temporal area, this speech area, Wernicke's speech area here. So this is the uncinate fasciculus. Then we have seen the fronto-occipital fasciculus here. So we have seen the fronto-occipital fasciculus situated medial to the superior longitudinal fasciculus, connect the frontal area to the occipital area, okay, visual area. So these are the associations area which associate the different part of the same cerebral hemisphere. Now, what about the next fiber are the commissural fiber, okay, commissural fiber. What about the commissural fiber? Here, now, commissural fiber. Commissural fibers are the fiber which connect the two identical area of the different cerebral hemisphere. Okay, same identical area. Okay, here suppose here the two cerebral hemisphere. So commissural fiber connect the same identical area of the two cerebral hemisphere here. Okay, suppose these are the two identical area. Okay, here suppose these are the same two identical area of the different hemisphere. Okay, same identical area of the two cerebral hemisphere. Suppose this is the two identical area here. Okay, here. So these are the commissural fiber. Now, what are the commissural fiber? Commissural fiber are the different commissural fibers are here. The largest commissural fiber are the corpus callosum. Corpus callosum. Okay, we will see separately corpus callosum in detail. Now the second is this anterior commissure. Okay, anterior commissure. What is anterior commissure? Anterior commissure connect the to this temporal area. Temporal area connected by the anterior commissure which passes through the just anterior to the lamina terminalis. So anterior commissure passes through the upper part of the lamina terminalis and it connects the two temporal lobe here. Suppose I am drawing here diagram. Suppose on the medial side, we will see the medial side here. Okay, this is the corpus callosum. This is the genu. And here the lamina terminalis. Sorry, in this location, upper part of lamina terminalis here, in this. So through this lamina terminalis here, the fiber from the one side of the temporal lobe here passes toward the opposite side of the temporal lobe here. Okay, so this is the anterior commissure here. Okay, so anterior commissure connect the two temporal lobe. Clear? Then the habenular commissure. What about the habenular commissure? On the posterior side here, there is a pineal gland. This is the upper stalk. This is the lower stalk of the pineal gland. And this is the pineal gland. Okay. Here. Here. Clear? Now, habenular commissure present on the upper stalk of the here the pineal gland here. Clear? This is the towards the upper stalk of the pineal gland, and this habenular commissure connect the both sides of the habenular nuclei here. Clear? So this is the habenular commissure. This is the anterior commissure. Okay. So habenular commissure present on the upper stalk of the this pineal gland and connect the two side of the habenular nuclei. Okay, here. Then the posterior commissure. Posterior commissure present in the lower stalk, of the pineal gland here. And this posterior commissure, this is the posterior commissure. And this posterior commissure connect the here the third, fourth, sixth, and the eighth cranial nerve nuclei. Okay, so this is the function of the posterior commissure. Then the hippocampal commissure. Hippocampal commissure means here it connects the hippocampus. Here this is the hippocampus. Okay, so the hippocampal. So these are the fiber of the fornix here. Okay, fiber of the fornix, and this fiber of the fornix in the middle line deep to the here the corpus callosum when reaches. So both side of the fiber of the fornix meet in the midline and they are interconnected to each other here, and this is known as the hippocampal commissure here. Okay, so this is known as the hippocampal commissure. Okay, here when the fiber of the fornix meets in the midline deep to the corpus callosum, this is known as the hippocampal commissure. Okay, here. So these are the commissure, small commissure which connect the different same identical area of the two different hemisphere. We have seen the anterior commissure, okay, habenular commissure, posterior commissure, hippocampal commissure. Now we just discussed in the detail the corpus callosum, okay, the largest commissure of the this cerebral hemisphere here. Now what about the corpus callosum here? Okay, look here. If you draw the diagram, now okay, so here in the midline here there's a fibers are present here. Okay, so this is the corpus callosum fiber, and in the midline this is the septum pellucidum is here, and okay, this is. So what about the corpus callosum? Corpus callosum and here in the diagram on the medial aspect, okay, here okay, here. Now this corpus callosum is largest commissure one, and it connect the two cerebral hemisphere. Okay, here in the wide area of the two cerebral hemisphere. And this corpus callosum has the four part here. One, this is the here the rostrum. Rostrum. Okay, this bending part is known as the genu. This is the trunk. This is the splenium. Splenium. Okay, here. Total length of the corpus callosum is about 10 centimeter. Okay, here. And splenium is 6 centimeter anterior to the posterior pole, while the genu is about 4 centimeter behind the frontal pole here. Okay, so this is the frontal pole and the temporal pole. Sorry, occipital pole here. Okay, here. So it is, splenium is about 6 centimeter anterior to the occipital pole, while the genu is about 4 centimeter behind the frontal pole. Clear? So these are the part. Now this corpus callosum superiorly, now what are the relation? If you see relation, superiorly this corpus callosum is covered by a gray matter. Okay, here. This is a gray matter which winds around the and reaches toward the paraterminal gyrus here. Okay, and posteriorly it is continued with the gyrus fasciolaris. Okay, here this gray matter here, and this gray matter is known as the indusium graecium. Indusium graecium. This is the indusium graecium, and this indusium graecium represent the degenerated part of the hippocampal lobe here, or the rudimentary part of the hippocampus here. Okay, here. So this is the, and in the indusium graecium, there are the longitudinal stria are present. Okay, here. The longitudinal stria means here. The two longitudinal stria present, the medial and the lateral. Okay, on the both side here. Suppose here. So this is here. So suppose this is the corpus callosum. Superiorly here, this is the this different color I draw here. Suppose this is the here the indusium graecium, and in the indusium graecium the two longitudinal stria are present, the medial and the lateral longitudinal stria here. Okay, here these are the white fiber. Okay, the medial and lateral longitudinal stria. Okay, stria. Okay, so these are the two longitudinal stria present here, medial lateral on the up in the substance of the indusium graecium superiorly. Now this superior surface of the this corpus callosum here is related to the lower free margin of the falx cerebri. Okay, falx cerebri, and where the inferior sagittal sinus is situated here. Okay, so upper surface related to the free margin of the falx cerebri, where the free inferior longitudinal sinus situated here. Inferiorly here, it is connected to a midline septum. Here, it is connected to the midline septum, septum pellucidum here. Okay, septum pellucidum here, and with the fornix fiber. Okay, yeah, the fornix fiber is connected to the septum pellucidum. So this is the septum pellucidum. Okay, now posteriorly here, posterior deep to the or inferior to the splenium and the colliculi. Here will be the colliculi of the midbrain present here. There is a one transverse fissure is present, and through the transverse fissure here, the telochoroidea of the third ventricle enters like this. Okay, here the telochoroidea of the third ventricle enters into the here the lateral ventricle, clear, and deep to the splenium and between the splenium and the colliculi here, and also the thalamus, clear. So this is the inferior surface, how it is related, clear. Here the rostrum and the genu form the boundary of the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle, okay, and this floor and the anterior boundary of the anterior horn of lateral ventricle, while the body here, the trunk is from the roof of the lateral ventricle here, okay, here, this. So the body of the lateral ventricle, roof, this trunk is formed by the roof of the main body of the lateral ventricle here, okay. So these are the how this corpus callosum from the different boundary of the lateral ventricle here. Now, what are the connection of this corpus callosum? How the fiber passes here? Look here. Suppose here, new diagram. Yes, we see the diagram now. Suppose this is the midline. Okay, here, and suppose this is the cerebral hemisphere. Okay, here. Now, fiber. What are the fibers? How they connect here? Okay, the fiber which passes through the rostrum, it connects the inferior surface of the frontal lobe here. Okay, it connects the inferior surface of the frontal lobe. Okay, while the fiber which passes through the genu here, they connect the more lateral surface of the frontal lobe here. Here, these are the fiber. Okay, yeah. So these fiber also connect the frontal lobe, but more on the lateral side, while these fiber of the rostrum connect the inferior surface of the frontal lobe, or the orbital surface we can say. Okay, here. So these are these. So this fiber passes through the genu, and these fiber known as the forceps minor fiber. Okay, forceps minor fiber. Now, majority of the fiber. Okay, now majority of the fiber here which passes through the body, okay, trunk, okay, here, which connect the parietal lobe here. Okay, here. So these are the fiber which passes through the body. Now fiber passes through the splenium. Okay. Now again here, suppose the red color, the fiber which passes through the splenium here, it passes posteriorly and connect the two occipital lobe. Okay, here. Here the majority of the fiber passes through the here the occipital lobe and passes through the splenium here. And these fiber are known as the forceps major fiber. Okay, forceps major fiber here, which connect the two occipital lobe here. Clear? Now, this fiber which passes through the forceps major fiber which passes through the splenium and enters into the occipital lobe here, this fiber bulges in the posterior horn of the lateral ventricle here. Okay, here. They bulges. Sometime here, they here. Suppose they bulges like this. Okay, here. Suppose this is the posterior horn. Okay, here. So they bulges here. And they form the bulb of the here, the posterior horn of the lateral ventricle here, this bulging here. Okay, this area here, this area here, here. This area is known as the bulb. of the posterior horn. Okay, here. So this fiber. Now, majority of the fiber, they crosses with the fiber of the corona radiata. Corona radiata means the descending fiber which comes from the cerebral cortex and descends downward, means projecting fiber. So most of the fiber, they crossed by the corona radiata fiber, but some fiber of this corpus callosum, they do not intersected or crossed by the this corona radiata fiber here. Suppose here different color, suppose here. So this fiber, suppose here, which is not crossed by the here the fiber of the corona radiata, and these fiber are known as the fiber of the tapetum. They are the shiny fiber which is seen in the cut section, which are not crossed by the fiber of the corona radiata. These fiber, the tapetum fiber, are closely related to the posterior horn and the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle here. So this is very important. You will see in the ventricles of the brain, especially the lateral ventricle and especially the posterior horn of the inferior horn, there is some fiber passes around the posterior horn and the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. These are the fiber of the tapetum. Okay, so these are the different type of the fiber. Now, what is the function of this corpus callosum? Corpus callosum is this corpus fiber connect the identical area of the two cerebral hemisphere. So they transfer the memory from the one cerebral hemisphere to the other cerebral hemisphere. Suppose it is said here the 90% person are the right-handed person. Okay, suppose this is the left cerebral hemisphere, this is the right cerebral hemisphere. Okay, now 90% person are the right-handed person, so there the left cerebral hemisphere is dominant, but the right cerebral hemisphere are the mute. Okay, so when one person keep the any object in the right hand, so signal passes towards the left cerebral hemisphere, and same left cerebral hemisphere signals passes this towards the right cerebral hemisphere, the same identical area. So the left hand know the right hand is kept the some object here by the transfer of this memory from the left cerebral hemisphere towards the right cerebral hemisphere here. Okay, so this is an important function of here this corpus callosum fiber, the transfer of the memory here from the one cerebral hemisphere towards the other cerebral hemisphere here. Okay, one thing. Okay, then next thing is it also send the this speech area. Okay, the Broca's speech area, the memory is transferred from the one cerebral hemisphere to other cerebral hemisphere before the 6th year of age. Means suppose before 6 years of age, when the corpus callosum is cut in the midline here, so the children can learn the new memory and they shift the memory towards the right cerebral hemisphere here, because normally the memory, the speech memory is situated on the left side, because left cerebral hemisphere is the dominant brain here. Okay, so when we cut the cerebral hemisphere in the midline before the 6th year of the age here, so memory, this speech memory is shifted to the right, but it is difficult to shift the memory after in the adult, especially in the adult here. When the adult have the permanent memory in the left cerebral hemisphere, it's difficult to transfer this memory towards the right cerebral hemisphere after cutting the corpus callosum in the midline. So this is very important function of the memory here in the shifting of the memory from the one cerebral hemisphere toward the opposite cerebral hemisphere here. Now, this cerebral hemisphere is also in the previously it is also used to cut the cerebral hemisphere control of the epileptic seizures here. What's happen? Epileptic seizure, when the one area is stimulated here or irritated here, okay, here, suppose this area, this signal passes opposite cerebral hemisphere and this area is also irritated, okay, here, or stimulated here. So the generalized seizures occur, okay, here. So if we cut the cerebral hemisphere, corpus callosum, so this irritation cannot be shifted towards the other opposite cerebral hemisphere. So opposite half of the body is prevented from the seizure symptom here. Clear? Now this is used in the treatment of the epileptic non-controllable epilepsy. Okay, here. This is the split brain syndrome. In split brain syndrome, what's happen here when we cut the corpus callosum, so the person cannot do the repetitive thing with the opposite hand. Okay, when the one person learn the things, okay, or learn the skill here, okay, so it is done by the left cerebral hemisphere here in the right-handed person. So after cutting this corpus callosum, the person cannot repeat the same action via the opposite hand. Okay, so due to this cut, and this is known as the split brain syndrome. Split brain syndrome or the callosal syndrome. Okay. Now in the callosal syndrome, what's happen here? Here the certain things occur here. Okay. Here in the callosal syndrome, one is the hemilexia. Hemilexia. Okay. In the hemilexia, what's happened? Patient cannot be read the matter when this matter is presented to us the hemivisual field, means left hemivisual field here. Okay. Suppose this is the field. Okay, here. This is the left visual field and this is the right visual field. So right visual field fiber passes towards the left side. Okay, here. And left visual field fiber passes towards the right side here. Okay, here. So what's happened now? If we cut the corpus callosum here, so fiber of the optic radiation here which crosses here, so the opposite represented to the opposite side here. So patient cannot read the matter when the field is presented to the matter is presented to the left visual field here. Okay, and this is the hemialexia. Okay, here. Then left ideomotor apraxia. Left ideomotor apraxia. Left ideomotor apraxia means here the patient cannot be do the same work with the opposite hand. Okay, means with the left hand here. When we say the person to hold this thing here, okay, okay, so patient cannot hold the things here, obey the verbal command. So because this is due to the split brain here. Okay, so this is the ideomotor apraxia. Okay, then left agraphia. This is the left agraphia. Left agraphia means he cannot write with the left hand. Okay, person cannot write the matter with the left hand after cutting the corpus callosum. This is the left agraphia. Okay, then the left tactile anomia. Left tactile anomia. Left tactile anomia means when the patient are asked to hold the things in the left hand, after closing the eye, the person cannot recognize the thing through the left hand here. So this is the left tactile anomia. Okay, here. So these are the 4 specific features in the split brain syndrome. Hemialexia, okay, the left ideomotor apraxia, left agraphia, left tactile anomia. Hemialexia means here the person cannot be see the things, the object which is present in the left visual field here. Okay, here. The left ideomotor apraxia, patient cannot do the work after verbal command here. Okay, here. So cannot do the work with the left hand after verbal command here. Okay. Then left agraphia, person cannot write with the left hand here. Okay. And the left ectonomia, person cannot identify the object which is held in the left hand after closing the eye. So these are the 4 features of the here the split brain syndrome or after cutting the corpus callosum. So I think this is all about the corpus callosum here. Okay. Thank you.